Hi friends, my name is Debbie Abel and today we're gonna be painting this cute Italian village. Um, I found this picture online. So for this one I'm gonna be using 100% cotton paper, Paul Rubens paint set. And just to remind you, I do not paint realistic, this is just an inspiration piece. So we're gonna start off by putting the sky first. For this one, I got my sky nice and wet, and then I'm applying my selenium blue, really light on the color, not too much pigment. We want to keep it nice and light, and you can add some more darker color on the edge just to give a little bit extra something. And then we're gonna move to our driveway or our path, and for this one I'm just using my yellow ochre, really light on the yellow ochre, lots of water, not too much paint. I would say about 90% water, 10% color, and we're gonna keep it nice and light. Remember, in watercolor we always start from light to dark, so it's easy to add layers to make your colors darker, but it's really hard to go back to light. Now I'm doing some lifting, and this means that you're gonna get your brush nice and clean, and you're gonna go back to it and pick up some of the paint. I said I want to keep it light, so I did some lifting for that particular area. And we're bringing this all the way down here where you see the kind of like the sidewalk in this house. And we're gonna keep doing this like so, applying this in some areas. And we're gonna be using lots of textures for this particular painting. So for this one, I'm just adding some more yellow ochre, putting some drops here and there in some places. And then I'm gonna be putting some salt. What this is gonna do is gonna repel some of the paint, and it's gonna leave you some beautiful, nice white marks, and it's gonna give you lots of texture. For this part here of the house, I'm using the same color, really light on the color, the yellow ochre. Maybe I add a touch of my sienna, but really just the touch, really tiny touch. We want to keep it nice and light. And for me, I'm using a flat brush, but you can use any brush that you have at home. Remember, you always use your materials that you have. You don't have to go shopping. Use what you have at home, okay? I'm just giving you an example of how I would paint this, and then you can make your own twist on your own painting. This is your painting, you make it your own. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause it and take a break, have a drink, and then go back to it when you are ready. And for me, the flat brush is the easiest to do this kind of buildings. It just makes things easier, make lines more straight. So, but I mean, you use whatever you have. If you don't have one, you can use your round brush. And we're using the exact same paint on the other side, and just bringing those bricks walls into the house. Make it nice and simple. I like to paint really simple. I don't like to complicate myself. So I'm just applying this all over the wall, leaving some areas behind, because I see some are more on the, it has a little bit of the pink side to it. It's not like that beige color, so we will be adding some pink to it. For this part here, I added some of my sienna color just to make it on the brownish side, not too much, just a hint. And then we're gonna do some lifting for this part here, the top part, picking up some more paint, putting it in some areas. We're gonna put some salt for more texture. So friends, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate it. Make sure you give it a like every time you subscribe, and you give a like. It helps this video to pop in the YouTube, you know, page, so it will be able, other people will be able to watch and maybe learn something from it. If they do, that would be great. It will make me so happy. If you could learn something new from it, it will make me really happy. I love to share what I know. And if you have any comments, if you want me to paint something that I haven't done yet, please let me know. I would read the comments. For this part here, I'm putting my water first, and then we're putting some of the paint. So I'm doing the same, the yellow ochre, and then I'm adding some of my Payne's gray, really light on the color. Then I'm adding my darker brown, I believe is my burnt umber, just few dots here and there, and then we're adding some more salt. We're gonna let that dry, and we will be going back to it. Then for this part of the chimney, like I said, I see a little bit of the pink hint to it. So this is more on the peachy color. And for this one, I did the yellow ochre, and I added a touch of my pink. And you can always have like a piece of paper to test your paint when you're mixing it, just to make sure it's gonna look something similar. It's not gonna be the exact same, but it's gonna look similar to what you see in the picture. And I'm applying this on all of the chimneys. Really simple. You can use a smaller brush if you want. I don't know, I like the flat brush, and I just put the same thing on top of the chimney. For this part here, I want to bring the light into the painting, so I had to add a little bit of my bleed proof white. You can also use wash with your paint, and just bringing those light colors back into the painting. As you can see, the painting, the windows, they have a lighter beige kind of color. So because I didn't leave the space white, I'm gonna have to bring the light with the wash. So I'm just applying that in some areas where I see those light colors on the wall. Pretty much it's around the frames for the windows and the doors. So that's what I'm doing right now. And we're gonna be doing lots of textures. For the bushes, I'm gonna be showing you how I do 2 of them, and then the rest of them I just did it the same way. We're gonna be using my credit card. I cut it in pieces, and that's gonna give you beautiful edge. And that's what I did. I did some highlights after I put all of the paint. So we're gonna be doing the exact same thing all over where you see bushes, and also for the trees. It's the exact same technique. So pay attention when I'm doing those 2, and you will be doing the rest of it the same way. I'm adding some more mix of the wash with the pinky color that I did earlier, just to bring some more highlight to this part of the chimney. And then we're adding some on this other side. Pretty much the left side is where the highlight is gonna be, and the right side is where your shadows are gonna be. So try to keep it that way. I want to remind you also, please check out my Etsy store, where I have a lot of the paintings that I paint here on my YouTube channel. I have a lot of listings. If you are interested, please take a look at it. They're really affordable. It's not crazy prices. I make them really affordable so everybody can purchase. And if there's a painting that you have seen in previous videos and you don't see it on my listings, please go ahead and let me know. Send me a message and I could list it for you. Right now I'm putting the cadmium yellow, putting those tiny little flowers. So I'm just using the tip of the brush to put those dots in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is not perfect. This is just tiny little details that we're putting on the grass. So now I wet my bush and I'm using my sap green really light on the color, putting those nice sap greens all over using the tip of the brush. Then I pick up some of the cadmium yellow, dropping that paint inside the green, making them blend nice and beautiful like watercolor does. It just moves by itself and bringing those beautiful unexpected colors. Then I made a mix of sap green with ultramarine blue just to make a darker color, and I'm placing that one in some areas to bring some shadows into my bushes and also the look-alike grass. So I'm just using the tip of the brush, filling in the space. Make sure you keep some of the yellow, cadmium yellow in there, just to show that there's some flowers inside there, just like you see in the picture. So we try to keep those in there. So, and we're gonna do the same with the purple, just adding those tiny little dots inside the bushes, filling in all the spaces, all the white spaces. And as you see, because I wetted first, the paint is moving and it's blending beautiful. You see the way it moves is just amazing. And now I'm making some lines to pretend that it's grass. So I'm putting those dark greens in there, making those lines. Really simple, nothing crazy, just making those lines. Just pretend this is big grasses in there, peeking through the bushes. And then you get your credit card and make some marks with it. Just bring those highlights back into the paint or to the painting. And all I do is scratch on top of the paint, just making some scratches in that. And you're gonna see the highlights. And you're going to be doing this for all of the bushes and all of the grass that you see in this painting. Really simple. And you can make as many highlights as you want. Just make sure you keep some of the shadows, because we don't want to cover everything. We want some highlights and some shadows. And then for this part, I'm just using the tip of the brush, adding some sap green, then I'm putting some cadmium yellow, making those together, pushing them together to blend. And just using the tip of the brush for now. Sometimes I pick up some of my darker green, just putting it in some places. And as you see, all of the bushes and trees, I just did it the same way, the exact same way. I put the lighter color first, then I put the medium color, and then I put the darker one, making those lines for the grass. And then I use the credit card to give the highlights. Now for this part of the vines, I'm putting the yellow ochre first. And I'm really light on the yellow ochre, making those lines. Remember, everything that is far away is gonna look small. Anything that is closer to you is gonna be bigger. So the lines are gonna be thin on the far away, and they're gonna get thicker as they come to you. That's how you give the perspective in any painting. So now I'm putting my sienna or amber, just putting those lines. And because it's wet, it's gonna start moving, and that's what we want. We don't want no hard lines. We want to make sure everything is nice, blended. And then I'm adding my sap green to some areas, pretty much the top of my lines where the rows are. And I'm adding some cadmium yellow to bring some highlight to my sap green, making some areas lighter, some areas darker. And I'm just making lines, really simple. This is nothing crazy. This painting is one of the easiest I have painted in a long time. This is just pretty much follow the lines. Really, really simple. And as you can see, it's looking really nice and pretty. It looks like you're in Italy already. And then I'm putting a medium color, my sap green with a touch of ultramarine blue. And I'm putting this one on top of my lighter green, just to give some more definition to the trees or the bushes. And we're just adding that in between the lines. Make sure you keep your browns in there. Don't cover everything. Keep those lines. And try to keep some of the highlight also. You don't want to cover everything. And then for this part here, we're gonna go under the sap green, and I'm using the tip of the brush, and I'm just putting my darker green underneath the sap green. This is gonna give you this beautiful shadow, and it's gonna make it look like this is deep, like the bushes are deep. They're super fluffy and luscious. So this is why we have to put it under the sap green to keep those highlights inside the bushes. And we're just giving the shadow to the bushes, if that makes sense. So we're putting this right under the sap green. And we're moving. Make sure you keep your browns in there. Don't cover every single detail. And we're just, with the tip of the brush, just wiggle a little bit. You don't want like straight lines. You want some definition between the bushes. So wiggle just a touch, just to give some more interest to your bushes. We're gonna do this all over these vines. And just adding some more thickness to the front of my vines. Remember, the closer they get to us, the bigger they are. So I'm just adding some more thickness and keeping some areas thin. For the olive trees that you see there, I just added some of my ultramarine blue to my previous mix for my mix of greens. And this is just to give a touch of that olive leaf color. It has kind of like a bluish tint. So that's why I added the ultramarine blue in it. Now I'm doing some dry brush. So this means you're not gonna add any water to your brush. You're just gonna pick up the paint and you're gonna apply this on the paper. It's like scraping the paper, and it's gonna give you these beautiful marks, and it's gonna look like dirt. And this is what we want. We wanna keep these nice marks that make believe like there is dirt in there. Now we're gonna go to the tree, and I'm applying the same color. This is my brown, my burnt umber. Really light, because I wanna add some more colors to the tree. We wanna make it more natural, more organic. And then some areas I'm depositing more pigment. As you can see, it looks darker in the center and lighter on the side. Then I'm picking up some of my Payne's gray, bringing those darker colors in some areas of the tree, just to make it more realistic. And then I'm cleaning the brush, picking up my credit card again, bringing those highlights into the tree. And I'm just using the pointiest side of my credit card, and I'm just scraping the paper to give some highlights in there. And now I'm moving to the windows. Pretty much this part of the wood that I see, it's on the lighter blue, so I'm using my Serenium blue, really light on the color, and I'm putting this what I see, the wood, that's what I'm adding this color, really light. We're gonna go back to it later on when everything is dried, and we're gonna be adding some more details and more texture to it. So we're just going around the frame, and we're gonna fill in all of the spaces where you see the wood, and we're gonna make it nice and easy. Try to make it light. And if it moves a little bit, it's okay. We're gonna be using mixed media. I like to finish my paintings with micron markers, but you can use anything that you have. If you have acrylics, you could use acrylics. If you don't have acrylics, you can use crayons. If you don't have that, then you can just use watercolor paint, just more concentrated. Don't use too much water, and have a really nice pointy thin brush, maybe like a double 0 or a 01, 02. Those are going to give you these beautiful marks. Remember, use what you have. You don't have to shop around for things. Use what you have at home. So I'm just applying this to the frames, every single frame. This one here is the door, so we're just adding the color, bringing it all the way down. Make sure do not cover the bush or the plant here in front of the door. Keep that beautiful green. And we're gonna do the other side too. Now I realized I forgot to do this side of the wall. I left it white, but it's okay. I'm gonna be doing bricks, so I will fill it in with some bricks. And this one here is my size 4, and it's a really nice round point, beautiful to make bricks. That's why I bought it, because it's the perfect size for bricks. But if you don't have this one, you can use a normal round brush, number 4. And just be a little bit more patient when you're making bricks. And remember, bricks in this case, they're not perfect. They're different sizes, so you don't have to freak out. Just make sure you have your browns already mixed, ready to go. I usually mix them before I start making the bricks. So I'm gonna have a light brown, medium brown, dark brown, and then I'm gonna have some kind of like a pinky brown, and I will be adding those. Pretty much I use one color first, skip some bricks here and there, then I go to the next color, skip some bricks here and there, and then I will move to the next color, and that's how I do it. For this one here, I'm using my sienna, and I added a touch of my red just to make kind of like a terracotta color, and I'm adding some shadow to the left side. You can also add some Payne's gray to the left to give that shadow, and it's gonna give more definition to the pot, make it look more round. And remember to keep some highlight on the right hand side, because that's where the light is hitting your pots. So I'm lifting some of the paint on the right, and then I'm applying some Payne's gray to the left hand side, just to bring that shadow back in there. Not too much. A little bit goes a long way. We don't want to cover the whole pot, just the left side. Keep it nice and simple. Then for this part here, we're gonna be using the same color that we did for the chimney, and just making those lines for that. Then for the shingle, I'm using the Payne's Gray, really light on the color, just bringing the shadow to this part of the roof. Then I'm adding some more lines for the tree with the Payne's Gray. Make sure do not cover the highlights that we did with the credit card. Keep those highlights in there. It's gonna make your tree look more natural. And you can add as many marks as you want on your tree. Me, I like to keep it simple. So I'm just fixing this line on the right. And then for the windows, I'm just gonna do this really fast, but this is just Payne's Gray. So I'm just filling in the space where the glass is, and this is just Payne's Gray, not too light on the color. We want to make sure it shows that this is glass. And I'm using my 00 brush. This is more like a detail brush, but you can use any brush that you have. Just make sure you're filling in the space. And if you missed a little bit, and if not too straight, don't worry. We're gonna be using the micron marker, and we're gonna fix any imperfections. So we're just doing really fast. Then I'm putting the piece for the door. I guess that's where the ring is, or the bell. And then I'm going back to my wood, adding more details, and I'm just doing a more concentrated cerulean blue, and it's less water, but the same color, just more concentrated. Just adding those marks for the wood, some for the windows, some for the doors, adding those frames. And like I said, I like to keep everything simple. And adding those frames. And you can add as many details as you want, or you can keep it as simple as you want. I just like to add a lot of details to my paintings. I feel like it makes the painting pop, make it look more interesting, but you can keep it as simple as you want. I'm adding those lines also to the frames. Using the same color. And also for the frames for the windows, just adding the shadows and making those windows pop. Then I'm gonna do some dry brush technique just to bring some more texture to my shingles. And I'm using the brown, then I'm using the Payne's Gray, and I'm not adding any water to my brush. I'm just picking up the paint and I'm scraping on the paper. Just scrape that brush on your paper, and it's gonna deposit the paint on your paper, and it's gonna skip some areas. That's what dry brush technique does. Then I'm adding some of my sienna, some areas, just to bring some more marks on your shingles. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're gonna make more details with the micro marker. So we're just adding some more texture. This painting is all about texture, so this is what you're learning today. I'm doing the exact same thing on the other side where the shingles are peeking through the tree. So remember the techniques we're using today. We did the salt. We used the credit card to give the grass some highlights. We're doing some dry brush technique. And we did wet on wet for the vines. Now I'm going back to my bricks. And like I said, if you can have all of your browns ready to go, it's the easiest way to paint bricks. So have some light, some medium, and some dark, and just go around and make those bricks pop. Remember to skip some areas. Do not copycat every single brick. They're all different. They are all different sizes. So do not do the exact same colors all over. Skip some areas. Put some of the medium, some of the darker ones, and it's gonna look more natural. So I'm using the same color that I did for my chimney, and this is the pinky peachy color that we did earlier. And I can see this is just on this side of the wall, just the top part, nothing else. Everything else is gonna be a different color. So for this, like I said, I have all of my browns ready to go. So I'm just applying the bricks in some areas. This is the yellow ochre. I have my browns, and I do some with some colors, and then I skip some and put other colors. And that's gonna give you more realistic look for your bricks. Same on this part. I'm using all of my browns. I got them ready to go. Put in those tiny little marks for the bricks. And so it's gonna be for the whole house. Like you see, I put a mark, I skip some, then I put another mark somewhere else, skip some, and you just continue doing this with all of your browns. Use your light, your medium browns, and your darker browns. And you're gonna see at the end, when you have all of the browns put in place, it is gonna look beautiful, like real bricks. You're gonna see the difference. Also try to keep some of the yellow ochre. Don't cover every single brick. We want to keep some of the yellow ochre in there. It's the lighter brick color, and you want to keep that one also. And we're trying to keep the bricks as light as possible. If you see that you put anything that is too dark, you can use a paper towel and pick up some of the paint. I'm going back to it with my other brown color, applying this in some areas that I did skip. And bricks is something that I love to paint. It's just one of my things. I'm obsessed with bricks. I think it makes any house looks so much better. I don't know, it's just make the house look so pretty. So we're putting this in some areas, going back to the other wall, applying this. And they don't have to be perfect size. They're all different sizes. If you see the picture, all of the bricks, they have different sizes. They are not perfect size. This is more like stones than bricks, so that's why they have different sizes. Just make sure your bricks are on perspective. You don't want to bring the bricks on the right hand side where I'm painting right now. they have to be kind of diagonal. That's how you keep the perspective. Now for this part here, I see it's kind of like mulch. So I'm just adding some more texture. Like we said, this is another way to do texture. You just do some splatter. And then we're gonna do the entire house with the micron pen. And this is gonna be done with the black. You can use any color that you have. So I'm just gonna go ahead and move this faster. And here we go. We got all of the house painted with the micron, and so is the bricks on the garden. Now for the trees, the easiest way for me to do trees is with a what is that, sponge, and I just have different greens, and we're gonna put the light, the medium, and the dark. So pretty much we're done with this. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you on my next one. Take care, friends. Bye bye for now.